think we're good. Hello. We are back to have lunch with you again. We appreciate you tuning in during our little Facebook Live and YouTube Live today broadcast. If you guys have any Facebook, if you have any questions, text them, email them, send them in. We are happy to answer them. Just a couple of updates. First of all, I went for a nice walk this morning. It feels like spring. And I will say one thing that I noticed that was a little bit different is that regardless of people being on their devices and they're listening to their music, every single person looked up, smiled, and said hello. So maybe there's something positive that's coming out of all of this. Resource-wise, I just want to mention one thing that I noticed. I sent this to my family this morning. Apple, some of you probably already know, has an app. It's really intended for people older than 18. But what it helps you do is just go through your symptoms, if you do have any symptoms, and then suggest proper resources. One other thing before I hand it over to the rest of our team today is I do want to just let you all know that we've been working real hard on trying to answer questions in a better, more informative way. And so we've come up with, I'll show you this here, a little topic, a little new series called Advanced Answers in Under 5 Minutes. And Hope and Karen and Mark and myself have prepared many, many, many questions and continue to answer your questions. So feel free to continue to ask them, and we will answer them. So what we're going to do here is, there we all are. We're going to get started, and I'm going to turn it over to Julie. I'll just introduce everybody real quickly. Julie is in the upper left-hand part of your corner there. Julie, give a little wave. Karen Whitney. Of course, Karen's going to take over today and lead our discussion a little bit with Julie. Hope Mers, you guys saw her yesterday, and Karen Lynch is in the upper right-hand corner. So Julie, I'm going to turn it over to you, and let's see what you have for us.
All right. Welcome to the weekend edition of Let's Have Lunch and Stay in Touch, featuring advanced answers and the latest trends in skincare and plastic surgery. In today's episode, we're going to be talking to our PA, Karen Whitney, about Botox and staying active, and also doing face yoga during this period of isolation. So Karen, there's no telling how long this stay-at-home order is going to last here in Ohio, or how long we're all going to be going without Botox, not to mention manis and pedis. So tell us a bit about Botox. How long does it typically last, and does it last longer in certain areas of the face than others?
Well, the FDA says Botox is going to last 3 to 4 months. I have patients, we all see patients who at 3 months, they're back to full movement. And we see patients who come in every 6 to 9 months. It's not that they're not necessarily moving, but they're not really seeing lines as a result of the movement that is bothering them. So the answer is, it's a total mixed bag, and each person is going to be different. So someone who has a very strong frown or very strong forehead lifters might wear that area out quicker than another area, for example. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know I have the brows up full, and I needed a lot more frequency than others. But another question I thought of is, if I go without Botox during this time for who knows how long, and if I miss my due date, which is typically 3 months, am I starting at ground zero once things are back to normal, or is there still a residual effect? Do you know what I'm asking? Do I need more product?
I do know what you're asking. The good news is, let's say, for example, you had a really deep frown line. You've been getting Botox for a couple of years. That frown line is really diminished. You go a little bit longer. Even if you go 6 months instead of 3 months, you're not undoing the treatment that's been done. In other words, the improvement that you've seen is going to perhaps regress a little bit. You might see a little crease starting to remain there, but once we put the Botox back in place, you're going to be right back where you started from.
That is really good news.
That is really good news, yeah. Yeah. And that's also good news, Julie, for the people who feel like, oh my gosh, I can't afford to get my Botox every 3 to 4 months like you're recommending, but what if I come every 6 to 9 months? You're still getting a benefit from the treatment.
That makes you feel a lot better. What about some of those products that you see online, such as those frownies that you paste on your face, I mean, can they temporarily help out in a pinch?
You know, brownies have been around for a long time. I remember them when I was a teenager. And the way brownies work is that they're an adhesive strip, kind of a wing sort of thing that is designed to hold the skin inactive while you're sleeping. There also are some products that are impregnated with ingredients like hyaluronic acid, so that while they're in place, they're actually trying to help nourish the skin. I think they actually are helpful, and I do recommend them to patients who have really deep creases, who can't come in with the regularity they'd like, or sometimes people have these lines here that are difficult to treat, maybe because they sleep and their skin is crunching, and I'll tell them to use a product like Frownies. So I'm a fan of those products. They might extend the use of your Botox treatment, and definitely during this time they can help keep carrying you through so you don't look mad.
That's good. I think I might have to order some online and try that too. What about I've also read about bee venom. I know it's the rage in Hollywood, and I guess Gwyneth Paltrow is using bee venom to the extent that she's actually getting bee sting therapy. Do you think that stuff's just crazy? Is there any merit to it? Do you know?
Well, it does sound crazy to me. I've heard of bee venom being used for neurological related issues, and so I was reading a little bit about it. The idea is that the venom applied topically might help paralyze the muscle. To be honest, I don't know if these products work. For sure, they're going to cause increased blood flow, a little perhaps inflammatory or irritating response, which can plump up the skin. Hope, have you come across any patients who are using these products?
You know what? I haven't. I've read about it as well, but I don't see how topically it could end up affecting the muscle, because the goal of the Botox treatment is to reduce muscle movement so that the skin has time to relax. And I just don't see a topical treatment really being too effective.
This kind of reminds me of the No-Tox that we used for a while, which was topical. And I suppose there could be some topical therapy, after using microneedling. Maybe there's a way to, penetrate it in some of the thin-skinned areas. But I would agree. I don't think we've seen much success with any of that.
Okay. Now, something I've been reading a lot about is face yoga. I've seen a lot of it in the news. And I'm wondering, Karen, if you could tell us a bit about face yoga and what you think about all that.
Well, it's interesting, Julie. Years ago, we've been seeing these articles for a long time that doing exercises or using like a tiny TENS unit where you're getting electrical stimulation of the muscle can help strengthen muscles, lift, contour the face. I'll admit that probably about 15 years ago, I made such a purchase. I was working with an esthetician, and boy, was I diligent about using this thing every night, 30 minutes a day for like 3 months, and saw zero result. So I think all of this has to be taken with a grain of salt. For sure, the idea behind face yoga is that you're using muscles in a different way and trying to strengthen the muscles that lift as opposed to allowing the pulling down muscles to have more strength. There was a study, as you know, where they took, I think it was 30 patients, I forget the study size, but it was a 20-week study. The first 2 months, 30 minutes of facial exercises every single day. And then the next 3 months, 30 minutes of facial exercises every other day.
That's a lot.
How do you do that when you're trying to take care of your body and everything else? So I don't really know what to think about all that, except I doubt that people have the stamina and time to do enough to get results. On the other hand, it's probably a good stress reliever, right? When my TMJ bothers me, there are some facial movements that I've been taught to do to help relax those muscles. I read about spas where people are going even weekly to get a facial massage, claiming to do the same sort of thing. There are places teaching you how to do these exercises. So it's kind of an industry of its own.
Years ago, before I decided to go into facial plastics, a fellow resident at the time gave me a book called Facercise, and this is sort of what we're talking about. So here's my thought. We can talk about the lower parts of the face. Probably strengthening your neck muscles and doing those things is probably a good thing. We exercise and other muscles. However, in the upper parts of our face, I'm not sure I want to exercise this muscle, right? Because that's going to create those memory lines, not just the dynamic wrinkles that Botox treats, but the etched-in lines, what patients called earned lines. So I probably don't want to sit here and continue to animate all the time because I'm going to create more wrinkles. I already have enough of them. So yeah, I would agree. I don't know about the lower parts of the face. The upper part, I'm not sure I would exercise more than we already do.
How about we all try a little bit just for fun, Karen?
Okay, so I, with the help of Julie, came up with 4 or 5 exercises that are considered facial yoga. So the first one is the warm up, and I've got my cheat sheet here because I don't have these memorized. You do it by blowing exaggerated raspberries with your lips and your cheeks. The bigger vibration is better for relaxing facial muscles. The lip muscles are core. So we're trying to relax everything by blowing big raspberries. And we're trying to do these.
Wow.
I'm definitely not feeling relaxed by that. I don't know about you guys. Let's give it a try.
I'm trying.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's pulling my neck muscles.
I do feel it kind of in the jaw, maybe.
You look great.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better at it. There's a learning curve.
I think we should warm up every day with that exercise.
Okay.
What's next?
Number 2 is slim your tech neck, double chin. So keep your shoulders down and relaxed. Tip your chin up to the ceiling. Feel a good stretch. Then alternate making duck lips and sticking out your tongue.
I'm out.
Those for 5 seconds each. It says if you don't get tired, it's not effective.
Excellent job, Julie. Nice job.
I just see what everyone else is doing. Is I the only one doing it?
Karen Lynch, I want to see you.
It's a good
I'm
stretch.
good. I'm enjoying this way too much.
My neck looks really good. Did
Okay.
everyone do it? I didn't see Dr. Mendelsohn. Did he do it?
No, he
I
went
did it.
blank.
I did it before we got started.
Dear. Okay.
Okay. Smooth your smile lines. So don't stop smiling and laughing. Otherwise, you're not going to develop cheek muscle. Instead, tackle smile lines by breaking down the tension in the muscle from the inside out by using your tongue. All right, this one was tricky. You stick the tip of your tongue up here in the crease. You make 5 circles clockwise and counterclockwise, and then you move your way down. Who wants to show that one?
Really.
I have filler in there.
Okay.
Okay.
It looks like a goat chewing.
I think that my probably main question that I get is about those perioral lines.
Mhm.
How about you, Karen?
I do definitely get definitely a lot of questions,
A lot.
but also sagging face.
So,
Those
Karen,
two areas.
Karen, can you tell us about, so when there's we talk about frown lines, well, every time we have somebody frown, but it's that sort of frown, the infracommissurial folds, I know we can fill them, but tell us what we can do with Botox there, with the DAO.
With Botox for the folds.
With the DAO for the ICF.
Yeah, I don't use Botox there a lot. Occasionally, we'll put some Botox down here in the DAO for
Right.
people with that downturned smile. If somebody has a gummy smile, you can put a little Botox in the muscle here to keep you from lifting too much. But In order to eliminate these lines with Botox, you'd have to keep your cheeks from lifting, and then you look like you've had a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually see people who've had Bell's palsy who come in like this, and that's tricky because we don't want to really relax that lifting smile.
What about the DAO? Tell us about the DAO, though, a little bit.
Depressor angular oris. It pulls the corners of the muscle down. So if you watch someone and they're talking, and I can actually do this, they make kind of a funny upside down smile. Or I found when people are super active in the movement of this marionette line area, sometimes just a couple units of Botox down from the corner of the mouth helps relax that area. Mm-hmm. We also do use Botox right in the chin, the mentalis muscle, and that's because that muscle gets stronger as we age. That's why people think of older women with a witchy chin, because that muscle pulls forward. And so what I like to do, and I hope you do the same thing, watch what people are doing with their faces as we're talking. So if they pull the corners down, if they make that kind of sad face, if their chin pulls forward a lot, a little bit of Botox in that region can be helpful.
Tell me a little bit also about upper lip lines and how we treat them, and if Botox has a role in that treatment.
So there's a muscle that rings around your mouth, and it's a very strong muscle, and it actually gets stronger as we age as well. People used to call those smoker lines. People don't smoke that much anymore, so we're realizing, no, those are just expression lines. And usually, or quite often, they're familial. They'll say, my mom had the same thing. And women complain about those long before I start noticing them. And it's maybe because they're looking in a magnifying mirror, but they don't like that puckery look. So you can put a little bit of Botox into that muscle, but you have to be careful, because if you eliminate puckering, to eliminate the lines, it can be difficult to drink out of your water bottle or your wine glass. Not good things. So you have to be very cautious, and we approach that area with just a few units, scatter, in a couple of locations, bring them back. We can always put more in, but I try to be real careful not to get too much at one time.
So your concern,
awesome for there.
Your concern wasn't that it looked asymmetric. Your concern was just that you couldn't drink your wine as well. Is that correct?
That's exactly right.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. But fillers work beautifully in this area, and people always think you would go up and down with filler to fill in those lines, but most of the time they're not deep enough that I feel comfortable doing that. I typically do a linear along the margin of the lip to add just the littlest bit of soft volume without looking filled. And so I always tell patients, now I cannot get rid of those lines without making you look like this, right? Because a lot of times that's literally what it takes, but I can improve it. And the nice thing is you do see that improvement right away, immediately after treatment. But you do usually get swelling if we do filler in that upper lip area for a day or two.
Thank you.
Any more exercises, Karen, or?
Oh, there's two more. You want to try them?
I'm game.
Okay, so this is for the saggy cheeks and jowls. That's a huge issue as we're aging. And what they say is that bulldog face is cute for dogs, but not cute for us. So they tell you to pull everything to the side. Imagine your right teeth pulled to the left side of your mouth and what would look kind of like a sideways kissy face was what the picture showed. Hold it for 10 seconds for an effective exercise that trains and stretches at the same time.
What?
That's good.
Oh yeah.
Give you some perioral lines.
I'm moving indoors, so I'll keep doing that, Karen. I've got some people outside. I don't want noise interference. Keep going.
Yeah, so you're supposed to do that just 3 to 5 times a day. That's it. Now you can all do that. I don't know. What's interesting is I'm not really feeling much pull. Dr. Mendelsohn, anatomically, could you tell us what they're trying to do with that exercise?
Well,
Make us look silly.
That's right. I'm not sure if that's your masseter, buckle. You got a little buccinator. You got a few little muscles in there, but you sure look good doing it.
Yes. Finally, there's one more. Fight eye wrinkles and crow's feet. So keep your
All right,
shoulders.
I'm back.
Yeah, keep your shoulders back and relaxed. Point your chin down to your chest and make an oval with your mouth. At the same time, look upward with just your eyes.
Let's see.
And so,
Wait,
you're feeling a stretch underneath your eyes. So in other words, I feel like the person on screen, right?
I'm back.
Felt it.
So chin down, mouth and O.
Julie, we lost your video.
Oh, I'm sorry. There we
That's
go.
okay.
Wait.
There you go.
How much you do that,
I
Julie?
had to move because of noise interference. Is that good?
Your mouth is supposed to be an O.
Oh. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, now do this one once a day, no more. Otherwise, you risk bringing too much stretch to the skin and the muscles of the face.
We don't want that.
Oh my!
Well, that was very invigorating. Why don't we all talk a little bit about other things we're doing to stay active in this time of isolation? I know I did some morning gratitude yoga this morning, thinking about everything I have to be grateful for. I've kind of turned the guest room into a yoga / Pilates studio, and my husband's turned my son's room into the TRX weight room. But now that it's nice, I plan on moving my exercises, like my yoga mat, on the back patio or on the screen porch, and doing a lot of gardening, which will help my arms and legs, hopefully. So, and I'm also doing a bar class, but I'm using a chair because I don't happen to have a ballet bar in my house. So, what are you guys all doing?
You can see my dog passed out behind me in the chair. We went around my parents' neighborhood. Me and my mom took a walk with her little poodle and mine. So getting outside is beautiful weather today.
I've been going down to Miami Whitewater Forest and walking as far as I can. It's just so pretty out. And I love it.
I've been trying an interesting yoga sequence called the 5 Tibetan Rituals. And you can find it online. And then I add on yoga, stretches, TRX, rowing, and a lot of walking and a lot of gardening. My dog is exhausted also.
Dr. Mendelsohn?
Oh, I've just
active?
I've just been walking and working on getting back to normal life.
Yes, we have. Hey, do we have any questions or anything from our patients that came in while we were live?
Yeah, but Linda wants to say hi from Germany. That's exciting. So
Wow.
say hi to Linda in Germany.
Well, hello.
And Mickey and Dee's watching. Don't worry, Dee's on.
Hi, Dee.
Hi, Dee.
All right. So, anything else? Hope, you have anything you want to add?
I think a common question I get from people that haven't done Botox before, they don't know where to place it. They may see, I'd say horizontal forehead lines are really common. Karen, maybe do you want to describe the glabella versus the forehead muscle and how those work together?
Sure. So when people say, I don't like what's happening up here, we want to show them the difference between a frown, where these corrugator muscles pull down and make the lines between your eyebrow. And that area is called the glabella. And typically it's a series of 5 injections to catch the middle procerus, which pulls down, as well as the 2 corrugators, which act like wings and pulling in. And I can't do that, I'm happy to say.
I don't have to right there.
And then the
I can do that.
frontalis muscles anchor in the region of your eyebrows and swoop up to your scalp area. And when they contract, it lifts your eyebrows, but also can create the horizontal lines on your forehead. And so depending on your facial expressions and your anatomy, one problem might exist without the other. We often treat these 2 together, sometimes even splitting the dosage if you don't need a whole 20 units in each area. because this forehead is a unit, and we don't want to typically wipe out lifting muscles without addressing frown, and vice versa.
Right.
Makes sense.
Julie, one other topic, you were talking about what other devices do you see out there on the market that people might be asking about? And I referenced one that there are devices that give you a little electrical stimulation to make the muscles contract. And I've heard from some patients that they feel like that does give them some temporary appearance of tightening. I don't think scientifically there's really any evidence that these devices have a solid anti-aging effect. But if you use them and they make you look and feel better, by all means. Also, people are using those jade
rollers
that they keep in the freezer, and they're using the cold to stimulate. Some people feel like cold contracts the blood vessels and can have a healthy effect on the skin, kind of like those freeze tanks that people go into. So cryotherapy is kind of a treatment that you might see. And then I've seen more of kind of gel infused pads that you put on the face. And I think those are acting a little bit more like the type of facial where it infuses products into the skin to try to promote skin health.
I know when you mentioned that jade roller, I was reading in People magazine or somewhere that Courtney Cox is a big fan, and they had a picture of her. She was actually using it as a restaurant while she ate dinner. Which I thought was pretty funny. I know those are the rage in Hollywood, apparently.
So that's all I've got.
Okay. Well, if that's it for now, somebody will be back tomorrow. Maybe we can all stay on the call for a minute once we aren't live anymore and discuss what the plan is. But in the meantime, thank anybody who joined us. And look for us on YouTube as well, our YouTube channel. We're going to be going live there as well. And a lot of the advanced answers are going to be posted everywhere in the upcoming weeks. So anyway, thank you all. Have a great day. Stay healthy. And we will see you tomorrow. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Karen Lynch, did that stop?
Well, it's on a delay.